Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? So have you ever opened up the refrigerator and not been sure why you were there or what you were looking for? This video might be something like that. I'm just gonna float around a couple topics. You know, um, this morning I was thinking about a bunch of stuff because I go to work early and there's not a lot to think about over there, to be quite honest with you. Nothing too mentally taxing. So I had a couple, comments back and forth with Runeslinger, because we're hours apart, so it's his night. And it got me thinking about a couple things that I've been thinking about a lot anyway in general. Um, and part of it is this, as far as systems go, and I'm not picking on any particular game system, um, but there comes a point when a system or a mechanic stops supporting an existing archetype or trope or character type and starts to inform it and define it. And this isn't always a bad thing, but it's a thing, and it's not something that I always like. Um, it's funny. We, as we were talking about it, we were talking a little bit about D&D, and Runesinger had mentioned that certainly by the time he started playing D&D in 1983, that had already started to happen. That because I mentioned, we were talking about that game, and I said subsequent editions, it started to define more and more, what these archetypes, what these tropes, what these character types were. You were no longer saying, hey, I want to play uh, a game where I'm like a guy in a particular book. It started to say, oh, well, I want to play a paladin. And you weren't really sure what the heck of a paladin was until you opened these books and found out. And, I'm just picking on that game, but there's, several other systems that you open it up and, it starts to give you this impression you never heard of these things before. Uh, so this isn't always necessarily a bad thing, but, there's a time when I'm not sure if I want the system or the mechanics um, to to generate the game experience entirely. And part of that isn't just system, part of that's just whatever fluff they throw in. But depending on the game, there comes a point. Certainly for me, this happened in later iterations of D&D and D&D type games, where you know the game itself, the mechanics and the system itself, kind of dictated to you what you were going to play, what you were going to do, and that wasn't always entirely fun for me. Um, Sometimes, in that manner and in other manners, whatever system you're using can become intrusive. And when it starts to define what the game experience is going to be like, um, depends. Sometimes I'm okay with it, and sometimes I'm not okay with it. Depends on the system, depends on the day, depends on what I'm looking for. This is kind of more of a philosophical question. When you come to the table, what is it you're looking for, or you're looking to be told um, what kind of experience you're going to have. Like I said, this isn't always a bad thing. That's coming off a little wrong, but you open up a board game, you read it for the first time, and you say, "Oh, okay. Well, now I understand what this is like. I understand what Scattergories is like, or Monopoly, or Stratego. Those are things where it's definitely defined. Your experience is completely defined by that game and the rules. I don't like that as much when it comes to a role-playing game. When I open up, and I'll just pick on or talk about the games I've been looking at lately. But when I pick up something like Leagues of Adventure, okay, sure, I'm going to use these funny dice, and the system is going to tell me how things work, and okay, well now my character is going to have a flaw or going to have some talents, and so that's going to kind of inform play to a certain extent. The rules inform the fact that it's going to be cinematic at times because I'm going to use these style points and that's how I'm going to represent bumping up my or putting effort into something. And so there's these moments where it's I can't believe you pulled that off, because you can do that in that game. Not a lot, but you can when it's really important, uh, etc. So that's going to inform what the experience is, or a little bit. But it's all if you're looking for that kind of experience, it's also going to support it. It's very chicken and egg right there. You're not depending on what you're looking for. But the point is that the types of characters and the archetypes, they give you some examples, but you kind of make it up. You can essentially play whatever you want to. It doesn't have to be just a swashbuckling adventure. It could be just some kind of academic. They give you examples, but the idea is it's pretty. I don't want to say limitless, but what you're going to play, it might be informed a little bit by the genre, but you can still come up with quite a few different concepts. I I believe you certainly can come up with quite a few different concepts, especially in I defend my preferred games like older D&D, especially the ones where there's just 4 classes. You know, Runesinger doesn't like classes. I don't care. I like them. But if you play something like a fighter, well, there's a million different kinds of fighters. Warrior type people you can play. Just a skill set they happen to have. But that's all fluff. It's not really supported mechanically. Okay, that's fine by me. Um, as games get more and more specialized, when you get to something, when a game has like 30 subclasses and whatever, it's pretty defined. It's really informing you how you're going to play this. Once again, not picking on it, just it's a different game experience. The system starts to I don't say dictate. This might be the wrong word, but it certainly informs you more and more. Well, this is the experience you're going to have. It's not your choice. You have a choice whether or not to play that game, but this is kind of how it's going to go. So, like I said, open up the refrigerator, poking around, looking at a couple condiments, picking some things up and reading the ingredients, putting them down. You may disagree with my my take on everything. Maybe you like Dijon mustard more than I do, and I like A1 steak sauce. Anyhow, that's it. Talk to you later.